This is part two of beginner guides to Korean drama, and I'm gonna start with She Was Pretty. She Was Pretty is about Hejina, who at a young age was labeled the pretty girl. Years later, as an adult, people look at her differently since their family has struggled financially. She currently lives rent-free with her friend and works part-time. Her childhood friend Songjana asks her to meet up after not seeing each other for many years. She soon tries to meet up but finds out how much he has changed and decides last minute to ask her friend to take her place. To make matters more difficult, she ends up getting hired at the same job he works for. Alright, so here's the main characters, and this is a good classic rom com comedy type of Korean drama. And so, like I said before, Kim and Jin, at a young age, the main character, has always been labeled the pretty one, but years later, her family has been having financial troubles, and she ends up living with her best friend, Minhari. Has a rich family, and Minhari works at a hotel as a manager. And so, of course, Jin Sung Jun, they were, and Kim and Jin were childhood friends, and Jin Sung Jun had to move away to America, and so they both have no idea what the other is doing. So of course they was like, okay, let's meet up. They emailed each other, let's meet up and see what's going on with each other. And of course, she gets there first, and then she sees pretty much how he has changed, how hot he is, because when he was younger, he was sort of like the chubby nerd type of kid, but now he's all hot and sexy and everything. So she feels insecure about how she looks now, and she feels like she's not pretty enough. So she decides to last minute ask her friend Minari to take her place and pretty much pretend to be her. And pretty much that's how the story goes. It's like this mistaken identity, and over time he starts to realize that maybe Minari is not who she says she is. And of course, all of a sudden Kim and Jin ends up working at the same company he works for, because he ends up being pretty much the leader of the fashion magazine company that he works for. And so like this big whole thing. And then of course we have the editor. He is the one of the editors of the magazine, and he starts to have feelings for Kim and Jin. And so it's like this big little, like a triangle, I should say, or a square, whatever you want to call it. So it's like this back and forth with each other, and how she has still wants to close her identity, but then of course she starts to fall in love with him, and then he starts to sort of like bond with her, and has starts to realize the similarities that she has, of course, because they're, she's the real deal, and Minari is not really the real deal. So it's like this big whole thing. But I think you guys will like it because it is a really classic rom-com. Is really a lot of funny things going on in this drama. So I think you guys really like this drama as well for as a beginner. So yes, this one is called She Was Pretty. Next, we have Tunnel. Park Kwang-ho is a detective in 1986. A series of murders starts to happen in a small village, where he then ends up traveling into the future through a tunnel. To get back to his timeline, he has to solve and catch the murderer. He meets a team of new detectives to solve the case. Okay, so right here, this is a crime Korean drama. I decided to put that in the mix for you guys as well, and I feel like this is the perfect one to start with. So these are the characters. We have Park Kwang-ho. He's the one that's in the past. He's a detective, and here he all of a sudden there's like a serious murder that happens during that timeline, and all of a sudden he ends up in the future trying to catch the murder when he goes through a tunnel. And all of a sudden he meets these four police, his police squad pretty much. And he has no idea what's going on, of course, because he's from the past, and this is like the future, like the 21st century, around that time. So everything is new to him, the technology, just all the stuff that happens. So he pretty much tries to find his way in the future, but he also tries to find a way to get back to his wife, because his wife is still in the past, in his timeline. So it sort of goes back and forth between his timeline and the future timeline. So it's pretty much trying to figure out ways how to catch the murder, because he realizes that the same thing that happened in the past is happening in the future. The same crime details, the same antics of the many different women that gets murdered. So he figures out that maybe if I catch the murder, then maybe he'll be able to go back to his timeline. So because he misses his wife, he misses his friends, and he misses his police squad. And then of course we have, I'm gonna just say we have Shinji. Shinji is pretty much like a profiler, and well, not exactly a profiler, but she works with the police because she's a psychologist dealing with criminal cases. And then of course we have the person that deals with the morgue and helps deal with cases with the bodies. So this is a really classic drama. I have watched this drama like 6 times. I was pretty much addicted with this crime drama. It's a really, really good drama. Okay, next is Oh My Ghostess. A young shy woman ends up getting possessed by a virgin ghost. Bong Soon, who has always been shy and timid. It also doesn't help that she can see ghosts. She works as an assistant chef where she has a secret crush on the head chef, Kang Sunu. Sunu starts seeing a change in Bong Soon after getting possessed and starts to harbor feelings. Okay, this is also one of my favorite Korean dramas as well. It's like a supernatural feeling fantasy drama. And these are the characters. So we have Nam Bung Soon. Nam Bung Soon's character is timid and shy, and you sort of can tell about that because her grandmother is a shaman, and so with that she can see ghosts. She was born with that ability, but she doesn't really like that ability, so she always is always tired and always scared of ghosts. And so we also have Shinsune. Shinsune is a bubbly personality, and but she's also a ghost, so she pretty much roams the mortal realm, pretty much trying to pretty much seduce men because there are some ghosts that still roams the mortal realm without passing over. And she has also has amnesia, so she has no idea how she died, and so she thinks that the only way to pass over is to pretty much lose her virginity. And so she always possesses other women to seduce men, but it always doesn't work out. So pretty much how the story unfolds is that Shinsune ends up possessing Nanbung-soon, and Nanbung-soon is a perfect vessel for her because there's a rumor in the ghost realm that if you find your perfect vessel, then you become one with the human body. So she ends up possessing Nanbung-soon, trying to pretty much hide away from Sobingo because this shaman has been trying to get Shinsune, and so she doesn't want to pass over just yet. So she decides to possess her, and so she pretty much lives her life. And of course we have Kansunun, who is the male lead, and he is the head chef, and he has this like stern personality. He's always strict with Nambungsun because it reminds him of his past life, of his of him being timid and shy as well. So it's like this back and forth with each other. And of course he starts to pretty much harbor feelings for her because her personality changes because Shinsune is in Nang Busun's body, and of course her personality changes. Everybody wonders what's going on and everything. So, and then we also have this character, and she is pretty much a PD for like television, and Kang Sunu had a big crush on her, but of course she was dating someone else, dating his best friend and everything like that. So but I mean, that's how the story unfolds. It's a pretty much about, you know, it's like a romantic drama about a ghost possessing another female and then living her life and then pretty much changing the people around her because she starts to change the people around her. Like she starts to change like the crew people at the restaurant and all the people that she meets. And the show is also a mystery as well. There's a mystery to this drama because Shunsune has no idea why she died. She died at a young age. So then something starts to happen where she starts to pretty much tries to figure out, okay, why did she die? Did something happen or was it something different? So it's sort of that mystery as well. So it's like this big thing that happens, and I think you'll like it about this drama. It's a comedy, but it's also a mystery and a suspense drama as well. So you start to really start to figure out what happens in this drama, and it starts to really unravel. And that's what I like about this drama. So I think you really like this sort of like the romance of of the drama, the comedy of the drama, and also the suspense of the drama as well. So please give this one a try. Okay, next is Goblin. Goblin is about Kim Shin, once an unbeatable general in the Goryeo period, has possessed immortality. He is tired of living and seeing everybody die around him. He has been looking for a mortal bride for 900 years to pull out his sword and take his life. He stumbles upon Jeontak, a bubbly girl who can see ghosts. She is known as the Goblin's Bride and seems up for the task, but things get complicated when they start to fall in love. Alright, so Goblin is one of the dramas that pretty much had got a lot of hype when it first came out, and I can see why, because it's just one of those dramas where it have A-list characters, all in one setting. So, but basically, Kim Shin has been a pretty much he was a general in the Goryeo period in historical times, but then something happens and he becomes immortal. So he has this sword stuck into his body, and there's only a special person that can take that out, because he has been looking for someone to take out his sword so that he can pretty much die, because he has been living from generation to generation. He is tired of living. He wants to be able to rest. So we have Jeontak. Jeontak has always been able to see ghosts when she was younger. And so she has been pretty much living day to day seeing ghosts, but she doesn't, that doesn't bring her down. She has this bubbly personality even in the family that she lives in. She pretty much does her own thing, and he ends up, so pretty much Kim Shin ends up meeting Jeontak, and at first, he is not sure if she is the one to take out his sword, but then along the way he realizes that about each other. So but then things get complicated because they start to fall in love, because he wants to die, but then they start to bond with each other. It's like this big whole thing, and it's about pretty much the supernatural world within it. And then we also have this yummy person here. He is the Grim Reaper, and pretty much the Grim Reaper is one that deals with the dead, that once you die, he passes over to the other world. And then we also have Sunny. Sunny is also a key character. She runs a chicken shop, like a chicken restaurant, and she's such this charismatic person. And pretty much the Green Reaper and Sunny starts to bond with each other. But all these characters, the one thing about the drama, all these characters are connected within each other. It's like even they are their own person, they have their own story, but it starts to tie in with each other. So, and then you'll start to realize a lot of secrets starts to unravel with this drama, with the supernatural world, with Kim Shin, with Jeontak, with the Green Reaper, with the Sunny, and Yudakwa. Yudakwa is pretty much Kim Shin is sort of like nephew in a way, or like because he is a champion, like pretty much a heir, and pretty much his family has been catering to Kim Shin from generation to generation, pretty much. So yeah, this drama is, it's hard to explain with this drama. It's usually you really have to watch it, but it's a really good romantic drama, a lot of suspense and the supernatural elements of it. So I think you guys will like this drama as well. You have to give it a try. And I think this is the last drama of the day for our 10 dramas, and it is Love in the Moonlight. Hongwaron disguises herself as a man to protect herself and her family. She goes around counseling different people on relationships and love. She ends up meeting the crown prince due to delivering a love letter for one of her clients. Raoun is unaware that he is the crown prince, and he is unaware that she is actually a girl. She ends up becoming an eunuch and working for the crown prince after being forced by the loan sharks chasing her. She tries to survive in the palace while keeping her identity a secret, while also trying not to fall in love with the crown prince. So we have Leon. Leon, this yummy person right here, Park Bo Gum, the actor. He is the crown prince. And we have Hongwaron, my homegirlie right here. she pretty much goes to day by day being disguised herself as a man, because at a young age she had to pretty much disguise herself, and you guys will get to know why she disguised herself as a man. But she has been a man pretty much since she's been young. And over the years, she has been pretty much, she's like this, like, guidance to love, pretty much. She helps men cater to love. Well, like, she's like this counselor, and you name it, from giving advice to writing love letters, you name it. She does it, and she always names her a price, and that's how she's been living her life. But something happens with one of her clients, wants her to write a love letter, and sort of like a mistaken identity, and she ends up meeting Leon. But she has no idea that he's actually the crown prince, and he has no idea that she's actually a female. But then something happens where some of the loan sharks catches up to her, and she is forced to become a eunuch for the crown prince. And so at first they butt heads once she gets into the palace, but then they start to really bond with each other. But of course he has no idea about her identity, and she tries to keep her identity a secret, especially since she's a female and a eunuch. Eunuch is a male, and someone who only pretty much works for the palace. And we also have Johanyeon. Johanyeon pretty much tips the scale between Hong Yeong and the crown prince's relationship, and she is pretty much one of those really nice female characters. She is pretty much picked to marry the crown prince, so that she can have an heir to the throne. And then we have Kim Yoon Song. Kim Yoon Song is pretty much a chaebol, and he sort of is like, he's also, well, not chaebol, sorry, he is a scholar, and the crown prince and him used to be good friends. And also Kim Bong Yeon, he is the guard, and he protects the crown prince. So the three of them used to be best friends, but they cut ties with Kim Yoon Sung because his father is pretty much like the villain of the show, because he tries to find ways to pretty much usurp the throne and try to find ways to bring down the crown prince. And he also has been trying to find ways to bring down the king as well. So the crown prince has always had his eye on Kim Il Sung and also on his father. So it's like this back and forth between them. But Kim Il Sung starts to fall in love with Hong Yeon, and he has always known that she is a girl. So because they start to have this bond with each other, so he helps her keep her identity a secret. So over time, that's how the drama unfolds. It's about pretty much the crown prince and Han Gyeong's relationship, and you start to realize why she decides to keep her identity a secret, and about with her family. And it's just a really good historical drama, so I think you guys will really need to give this a try. And that's a wrap, and that ends of part 2 of my dramas. And this is just a really good beginner's guide to get you guys started on the journey of loving Korean dramas. Thank you, and subscribe to my channel.